大家好, welcome back to Joe and Jet 未過濾的 with Jason. We have one J not here, replaced by another J. Jet is not here, but we have our second import of season 2, third overall, Jason Washburn.
What's up, y'all?
Welcome to JJJ.
I said, are you Jason?
Yes.
Joe was like, yeah, we're going to have you on. It's going to be, you, me, and Jason. I said, yeah, I'm going to be there. Who's the third guy? Jason.
I was like,
we
forgot.
I was like, you never used my first name, Joe. Like, what do you call? He's like, oh, no. There's another Jason.
Right.
I said, of course there is, because
I was like, in my mind, like,
we the GOAT, man.
he didn't count as Jason at the time because I call him Wash.
Yeah, everyone calls me Wash.
Right.
No one calls me Jason.
Okay.
But yeah, we are still JJJ today.
I didn't want to see Jet after the game we had against him Saturday anyway. Like, I was not looking forward to having to look him in the eyes.
It's okay. Oh, yeah. So, if for everyone to know, Jason Washburn is a rebound leader for Season 4 of P-League, Clutch Player of the Year. How do you feel about that?
Bro, I woke up that day, and I was getting tagged in all these photos and all these stories. Washburn, Clutch Player of the Year, Clutch Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what is that even? That's an award? I didn't even know that was a thing.
No, yeah. I mean, I got missed a fashionable award, so they be giving that award.
Bro, the fact that they asked me last year and this year to, like, will you try to be fashionable? I'm like, do you guys know Joe is in the league or on my team now? Like, what do you expect me to walk in here with?
Right.
No, but I appreciate P-League. They be giving awards to try to people win some more.
Yeah, they be trying to.
But your clutch stats must have been pretty good though for you to get.
Do you know how they came about that? Like, do you know the logistics of it?
I remember some IG thing used to post a thing where it was like,
yeah, so like they took the last 5 minutes if a game was in a certain amount of points and like your stats in those last 5 minutes. And they broke it down into they narrowed it down to 3 people. It was me, Justin, and Chris McCullough. And then the fans just voted on that. And like I said, I had no idea it was a thing until I woke up and won it. Yeah, I mean, I got a nice laptop, my gaming laptop out of it that I'm on nonstop now. So I'll take it, yeah.
Also, all P-League first team and import of the year of P-League Season 4.
Oh, yay.
So congratulations.
Yeah. You're much nicer than some of our other teammates, because right about now is where I'd hear something about how I didn't win the thing that mattered the most.
Oh, I mean, we don't need to get into that.
Oh, thank you. You're much better than than the rest of our teammates.
It's more because I want to have you in a better mood so we can talk, get deeper into some other topics.
You think the happier I am, the more I'll share with you? I understand the logic.
So right now, we'll get into the main topic going on right now. P-League Finals. Fubon and Pilots, your old team, right now is 3 versus 3. Mm-hmm. Game 7's tomorrow. Who do you think is going to win? Well, first of all, have you been watching?
I've watched most of the games in the finals. I haven't caught up with all of them, but for the most part, I've been watching them. And to answer your first question, I think Fubon missed their chance. Mm-hmm. I think Pilots got it tomorrow.
You don't think Fubon got any chance tomorrow?
I mean, there's always a chance. The series has been closer than I thought it'd be. And I think both teams have come back from a deficit in one win or another, right? Because
Pilots were up by a decent amount in Game 3 or something,
and Game 5. They were up 14 or something like that in Game 5. So it's been. I'm surprised by how close it's been. But I think Fubon missed their chance. I watched the game last night, and it didn't look like to me they had much left.
Right.
They've given it their all, and I think Pilots got them tomorrow.
Pilots were the favorites, by far, right, to win the whole thing, even at the start of the season.
As they should have been.
So I think Fubon fighting to this point is.
I think they can count it as because I seriously thought maybe lose one game. The way 4-1. The way the Pilots just dominated the whole P League this year, it was I watched them play every team in the P League probably more than once.
If you were still on the Pilots, do you think things would be different?
Different
for their team?
Different in what way exactly? Because if they win, it's already different.
Well, if they win, it would have been oh dang, they scrapped by.
Yeah, I mean, But that's, they also traveled to Mongolia in the middle of the finals.
Right.
You know what I mean? They won the game. They came back. I was like, man, that's going to be tough. They ended up pulling it off.
The BCL game?
No, they came back from Mongolia and won that next game in the finals. That was a game where Fubon, I think, was up like 10.
I see.
And so I had to give them credit for that because I didn't know how much energy they were going to be able to come out with.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, if I was on the team, man, like, I don't know how different it would be. Fubon has a couple, pretty big guys. I didn't realize they had two bigs. I didn't watch them that closely, I guess, until the finals. So, like, I'd probably be able to help there. Just either defending.
The size.
Yeah, going size for size.
Because when you and Brown played together, he was the 4, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No. Brown was the post player. I was the shooter. You don't remember? I was a run coming off flares, and he was the one coming off cross screens, 100%.
But he's their 5, right?
He's one of their 5s now. I don't know if him and Julian are ever on the floor together. I don't know who would play the 5. Julian, I would assume Julian would. Alex is he's a natural 4.
He's a shooter.
He's a shooter through and through, and he's a natural 4 man. It's where he's comfortable, and it'd be silly to use him any other way.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about you being with the Pilots. What gave you, like, how did you come to play in Taiwan? Like, who reached out to you or?
I mean, it wasn't any like. It's not like anyone from Taiwan reached out to me. I was playing in Japan on and off for 6 years, and I honestly thought I'd keep playing in Japan. But Japan, for one reason or another, came to an end, and my agent always liked sending guys to Taiwan. Never had any problems here, so Taiwan was just next up. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I always liked changing countries. Mm-hmm. I've been to over 40 countries now.
Wow!
And I've played, and most of those are basketball. So if I thought about it, I'd probably have played in 25 plus countries. I always liked it.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's sick, isn't it? Like, just thinking about it.
Wait, if you've played in 25 countries and you've been pro for...
approximately.
And you've been pro for, like...
Not all of them are in pro, though. Like, I went and played in Brazil in college.
Okay.
So Brazil was in college. You know what I mean? So, but most of them were when I was pro. But, you get into some of those international leagues in Europe, and you're playing... I mean, I played in Kazakhstan once. You know what I mean? So I've played in, like, some random countries. And then, like, when I was in Kosovo, we were in international league, so I was traveling all over the Balkan area, which is, people don't understand how many countries are actually in that area. And I was playing a game or two a week in a different country. So it's just, it accumulates fast.
Yeah.
So I always enjoyed that. I got to really like it and experience other cultures, different styles of basketball, different things. I came to appreciate that side of overseas basketball.
Okay. So talk about, I kind of want to know, a little bit more about, if you see, like, which country you like the most?
Well, I mean, to answer your first question, you can ask which country I've played in, because I've played in some amazing countries, and no disrespect to anyone, but I've played in some countries that I just weren't for me, or I wasn't very fond of. So, like, my favorite country, I would say probably Belgium. Belgium or Japan. Belgium was just very, I guess, for lack of a better term, Americanized. That's where EU is. I was in the heart of Brussels, too. So, like, it's one of the biggest cities, one of the most popular cities in Europe, headquarters of EU, so you got a lot of international travel. But, like, at the same time, the reason I say Japan is because, like, Belgium didn't, once again, no disrespect to anyone, but, like, I always say, like, it was hard to distinguish what exactly Belgian culture was, because they have so much French, Netherlands, and German influence. And, like, no one speaks Belgian. You speak French, German, or Dutch. You know what I mean? So, like, you ask, like, okay, well, take me to the best Belgian food spot. Well, they take you to a Belgian waffle stand, or a French fry stand, because, like, French fries started in Belgium. But, like, that's like the list. Whereas you go to, like, Japan, and it's heavy in their culture. I was kind of shocked when I went to Japan, because I expected, you were born in America, I don't know if you share this view or not, but, like, I had my own, shall we say, stereotypes of Japan. I had an expectation of Japan based off of what were shown in either media, movie, or, text. And none of it was, I'd say very little of it was right. So I go there. Japanese food is some of my favorite food in the world. I really appreciate their culture. I really enjoyed their fans, their atmosphere. So I've had a wide range of experiences, I guess that you can say.
Okay. So talk about the season that you were first here. You've been through some ups and downs, going through 10 games winning streak, and then
first year?
That was year one. Yeah, we started.
Right.
So I don't know what it was about the P League, but they like to start off. They started off every season with us playing the Kings, like the first 4 weekends, and that never went well. So in the beginning,
your first year here was my first year with the Kings.
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Right. That was Byron's like second-ish year, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that'd have been your first year. Yeah, I think we played you guys like our first 2 games were you guys.
And back to back.
Back to back. Yeah.
Not back to back, but like
back to back weekends.
Yeah.
And then like we went and played the Steelers, I think. So we got our first win, and then we went back to you guys. And so we were 1-3 to start the season, and everyone's kind of like already on edge.
Right.
And then December hits, and we go on our 10-game win streak. And at the end of this, we must have played another game somewhere in there too, because we ended up going into Chinese New Year 12-3 with all 3 of our losses coming to them. And everyone's all excited. Everyone's like, "Hey, we're going to the finals." And I'm sitting here already a vet, and I'm like, guys, I'm not trying to take away what we did. You know, first team in P League, that's all great. But like 7 of those 10 games were at home, and we played you and Fubon once each at home. And I think like we played you guys. Byron was sick, and Fubon like didn't start the year great. So like, but for the most part, it was the Steelers and Hsinchu, which we swept Hsinchu that year, and the Dreamers. So I was like, all right, relax. But then we came back from Chinese New Year, and our first game was at Fubon. We just got cracked by like 20. And I think everyone was just like, oh, so we're not. I'm like, yeah. So we played Fubon and Hsinchu. We kept trading them on enough so we'd get a loss, a win, a loss, a win. And then it was just a very slide downhill, very fast slide downhill. That was a wide range of emotions all in one season, right? And then I've talked to you, Joe, about how you guys beat us 3 straight times with only 1 import that year.
Oh, yeah.
Adia just left. Byron got there. 3 straight games.
Yeah.
One game I had like 38 or 39. Jeff had 24, and you guys still beat us. And I'm like, okay, so that's rough.
Yeah, so that kind of carried us to the playoff then,
That was close. Playoffs were right after that.
Yeah, and then you guys got swept by Fubon. So.
By him.
Not by me. I didn't play.
You were on that team?
He's been on Fubon
for 10 years.
10 years before. He just not this year.
Oh,
not
really?
Last year, yeah.
Oh. Well, Jason, I hate you then. I expected us to win one of those games. I really, really did. Now, having said that, I don't know if I really expected us to win that series. You guys already 2-time champions. You guys had seasoned players. I think the game you guys eliminated us, Beast at 39, had like 25 that game. He went off on us, like just schooling a bunch of young kids as you expect from a player of his caliber. And I think I wasn't necessarily shocked, but I got the feeling around that people expected us. I got the feeling that other people were shocked, and that is what I'm like, guys, like, we had a good year, like much from what I've been told, much better than the year before.
Yeah.
But I was like, guys, like we're still super young. You know what I mean? Like it was Jurgi's first year, my first year. I think we built something. This team's going in the right direction. But like, you guys are still Fubon, man, and like you guys played like you wanted to be the 3-time champs, and you did. You just kicked our butt up and down the court.
Well, thank you.
Do you have any regrets from your time with the Pilots? And do you still keep in touch? Well, I mean, I know you do, but
yeah. Do I have any regrets? No, not really. I mean, it's hard to regret any time with the Pilots, given what I was able to do personally and what that team was able to do. From like we talked about, the year I got there to the next year, but even from first to second year, the changes I saw in those locals, especially, like I was really proud of them. And like that second year, we got rid of any vets of any kind that we had from our locals.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we were already kind of young, but then we somehow became younger. And so I remember at the beginning of the year, there was a lot of, buzz around social media or like around just regular media here that like, oh, they're still young. You know what I mean? They're not going to be good this year. I guess there were talks that we weren't going to make the playoffs, which that one I did not understand. But we were able to prove a lot of people wrong, which I think did a lot for the confidence of our young guys. And no one fought any type of coaching or criticism, whether it would be from Jurgi or from me. You know, everyone, there wasn't any of this. There was a lot of this. So it's hard for me to regret any of my time there. To answer your next question, yes. And you know that. Like, I keep up with a lot of those guys because those guys last year got me through some things I was going through with my family. My family went through some pretty dark periods last year, and I was able to lean heavily on some guys in that locker room. And there was one time I actually broke down in the locker room because my family was going through so much and I wasn't there, and like they all like rushed me quick. Like, come here, like, what's going on? Talk to us. So I can't regret any of that time with those guys, and I'll always appreciate it and love the people in that locker room every day.
That's respect.
Yeah.
That's respect. Okay, so how would you compare the locker room that you had with the Pilots versus the one you've experienced with the Kings?
You know, going from the old head, the guy who kind of like reigned supreme, to being somehow one of the freaking young guys at 34 years old, really does some bad things to your mental health. I'm just going to point that out first and foremost. No, like I said, the Pilots locker room was great. Like,
you can mention how the first day.
Oh, I'm allowed to mention that. Oh yeah, want to know the locker room, Jason?
It wasn't just me though, so you can mention.
Oh no. We'll start with my favorite teammate. We'll start with the Slim Reaper himself.
Okay.
You know, literally the first speech he gave to the team. You know,
day one.
His day one. Day one. We're all sitting in an auditorium. You know, Ryan's talking about the expectations of the season, what the type of team we're going to be.
Like a classroom environment.
Yeah, and Austin stands up and, you know, as a vet, sharing his thoughts on the season, what we can accomplish. And he's like, yeah, everyone knows what it's like to win a championship, you know, except for Jason.
He did the take back.
And I'm just like, oh, well, all right, let's set the tone then. You know, and then a couple days go by and that becomes like a subtle joke here and there, you know, and talking to Joe about the final. He's like, yeah, I mean, the Dreamers were the real finals. I'm like, good Lord. I'm like, that, you know, Cayenne's like, so you guys thought you were going to win that, huh? I'm like, you know what, y'all? Let me tell y'all something.
No, Cayenne said, did you actually think you had a chance?
I'm like, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Y'all not just going to treat me no type of way, man. Yeah, we thought we were going to crack y'all. But like, having said that, like this, but I've enjoyed both locker rooms heavily. I'll admit to you, Joe, that like I didn't know what I was going to walk into. Like most people, I was either reading headlines about you guys the season before, or
which weren't good headlines,
or the people that I was friends with amongst your team probably weren't sharing the best thought,
the most accurate,
the best of the best of the best. So like I just didn't know. So when I walked in and I realized almost immediately that like a lot of what I heard was just not true, I was like, all right. And it was actually really easy to settle into our locker room and be part of it. I will say, like, our team, we probably spend more time together off the court as a whole. Maybe one of the teams I spend more time with off the court than any team I've been on, but especially the Pilots. You know, if we ever spent time off the court, it was like all imports. Locals never really joined us. And I don't think that was a separation thing. I just think, you know, they were so much younger than us, and most of them didn't even speak great English.
Right.
Justin is learning English, and he's gotten much better, but his English wasn't, especially the first year, up to that point. You know what I mean? And that's all. Who wants to just sit in a room and
language barrier is a real thing.
Language barrier is a real thing. You know what I mean? So, but like it was still a good locker room. But I'd say our camaraderie off the court is just like another level. You know what I mean? Like our familiarity. You know, the things, I mean, our group chat is quite the experience to be a part of when everyone decides to join in and share their opinions.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the nice thing about our team is like we have the middle ground, and what I mean by that is the middle ground between imports and locals, right?
You and
like
your brother,
me and my brother,
yeah,
like
100%.
We can speak both,
100%.
so we can kind of tie that
100%
together. So,
I think that's a big thing, and Jeremy's willingness to like reach out to both. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're gonna do something. I'm gonna text the locals too. You know, you two are really good at bringing, you know, both sides together and creating like an environment, you know what I mean, that everyone wants to go to. So you guys are definitely a good bridge, and you guys help create that environment quite well.
Thanks, Wash.
Yeah, here.
How would
you exceeded my expectations. I'll give you that.
Actually, there was rumors about how, you know, we talked about in our show before, you know, about CJ. You know, rumors saying about CJ, you know, joining Kings because you invited him and he wanted to team up with you.
See, that.
So you once played with Jeremy in the States and then now team up again in Taiwan. What are the different about these two experiences?
Oh, he has a funny story when Jeremy was on the Steelers, but we'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
Why do you do this, Joe?
Dude, you
want to talk?
You have to talk about that.
Wait,
you can talk about
which
it right
one? I feel like there's a couple. Which one are we referring to? This
Oh
yeah, oh yeah. I can't.
No. But first, let's talk about when you did play with him.
Okay.
In the.
I mean, it's hard for me to say like I played with or teamed up with Jim, but. And I've told
Charlotte
him
Hornets.
this, yeah, on the Hornets. I signed a training camp deal, and I've shared this with Jeremy more than once, and I might have said it publicly more than once. But in that short amount of time, Jeremy had a massive impact on me as a basketball player. Him and Al Jefferson, but Al Jefferson was strictly on the court.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I was a low post player. Al Jefferson at the time was one of the best low post players in the league. And I came to him one day, and I used to just ask him question after question after question. And then one day I'm like, Al, can we play one-on-one? He goes, Youngville, that's a great idea. Like, get me in shape. Let's go. Mm-hmm. So me, him, and Hansborough would play every day one-on-one. And Al would show me all his moves, like, do this, do this. Pretty sure 99% of what he does is a travel overseas. So, like, I wasn't able to adapt it too much to my game, but I still appreciated him for it. Whereas Jeremy, not only on the court, but I tell anyone who will listen to the story, my first game in training camp was against Miami Heat, right? Right? And that pissed me off because the night before we played the Magic. And at the time, Magic had, like, no real superstars on their team. They had no one that you walk in and you're like, yo, that's this dude, that's this dude. So I was like, man, I want to play against the Magic, get the first game nerves out.
Right.
Nope. I go in, and I'm guarding Amari Stoudemire, who's setting pick and rolls for Dwayne Wade. I'm like, okay, bro. Like, what the actual hell is going on? I got Gerald Green in the corner just waiting to catch a lob.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just, like, trying to avoid doing anything dumb. So my first offensive play, I was like, bro, I just got to do something. I got to get this out somehow. And I think it was actually for your brother. But I set this craziest screen on Mario Chalmers. And when I hit him, I also kind of grabbed him and drug him with me as I rolled. And immediately, the moment they blew the whistle, I'm like, okay, yep, here we go. Jeremy walks up to me and goes, hey, Wash, get that out of your system? You feel good now? I'm like, I do. I feel better. And he was like, how about we play some basketball? Let's do this. And so, like, I had, like, a couple blocks that game. But I was still, definitely just trying to, like, not mess. I wasn't playing my game. I was playing to not mess up. And your brother came to me and was like, after the game, was like, look, when you get on the bus, I want you to sit with me. I want to talk to you. And he told me about, like, his first time, you know what I mean, really playing in an NBA game. And like we talked about, you know, that night on the Knicks where, like, you're probably going to be cut tomorrow. And he was talking me through all his emotions. And, like, I was just a training camp guy. You know what I mean? There was no chance that I was going to sign a season with that team. They had 6 good bigs that year. But the fact that he took the time for a training camp guy to help me with my mentality, like, just did wonders for me. And then there was we went to China, we went shopping. He's like, hey, you know, get something for your wife. I got you. Don't worry about it. Like, you go into the NBA and you hear stories about guys. You know, you hear of a podcast like, man, this guy's crazy. This guy, you know, but then this guy's super nice. You just never know when you walk into an NBA locker room the type of people.
Right.
And I was very fortunate because the Hornets locker room, and I talked to Jeremy about, like, did you really like the Hornets locker room? He goes, it's one of my favorite locker rooms. You know, he's like, well, Kemba's one of my favorite teams. Like, I didn't get to know Kemba the way I got to know Jeremy, but, like, yeah, Kemba, great guy. So I was fortunate enough to go into a locker room where, for the time I was there was 0 bad apples, 0 bad guys, lots of older guys who were willing to help the younger guys and even help a guy like me who was just there to absorb as much as I could. And so your brother just had a massive impact on me. So when everything fell apart last summer with the pilots, and my agent sent out my agents, you know, started sending out emails. 20 minutes after my agent texts me, like, hey, you know, we'll start sending out emails. 20 minutes later, your brother, Jason, wait, you're leaving the pilots? He's like, there's no way you're leaving the pilots. I'm like, you know, I'm still talking with them, but, like, right now, you know, whatever. And he's like, well, would you play with me again? Because I didn't know if the Kings would take me, simply because I did play for the pilots. You know, my agent just started sending out, you know, reaching out to teams. I didn't tell him to reach out to any team. And when I was just as surprised as anyone else when your brother reached out to me, because I'm like, you know, I didn't know what me being close friends with Byron was going to do in your locker room. I didn't know about me playing for the pilot. Like, I just didn't know. I didn't expect anything, you know what I mean, from the Kings. So when you're, you know, I mean, if you for sure don't play for the Pilots, would you play with me again? That's a stupid question. Like, what are you talking about? Right. So and that's why it was my signing here was able to happen quick. You know what I mean? So Jeremy is the reason I came here. Well, I mean, he was the catalyst, and, you know, just getting to know him even better, like, it does nothing but confirm what I've always known about Jeremy. You know what I mean? And even when he got hurt on Brooklyn, I reached out to him, like, hey, bro, I'm praying for you. I'm really sorry. And even then, he was like, Jay, man, like, I really appreciate it. How you doing? Like, how's your wife? Like, how's this, that? And it's just like, you just tore your patella, dog. We don't got to talk about me. Like, that's just who Jeremy is. And, like, you know that better. I'm telling you about your brother. Like, you don't know that.
It's for
everyone else. He's just a genuinely good human being. You know what I mean? And just, you know, away from, like, the things he does for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Like, he's still, if he didn't have those things, he's still just a genuine person and teammate, you know, that you want to be around, that you want to have on your team, that's going to fight for you, and you want to fight for him.
How was it when you heard or when you found out that he was going to come to Taiwan to play, like when Steelers at the back end?
Sonny, when you watch this, I'm not trying to expose you for what I'm about to say. So when he came, because he was in the CBA.
Right.
And Sonny was like, hey, you know, he played in the CBA. Like, he was good, but, like, you know, I don't know. Like, he's older now. Like, I don't know if he can be that good. And referring to your joke, in our scout, you know, we were treating him basically like we'd treat any other local point guard in the league. And, you know, Wendell and, like, a couple other players, like, they're setting these super high screens for Jeremy. And, you know, any other point guard, we'd jam in under. Well, yeah, your brother decided to go full lethal shooter mode on us one game. And we jammed in under 5 straight times. We're under, bop, bop, bop. And I'm just like, y'all know this isn't like a regular point guard, right? Like, this dude isn't shooting deep. He's shooting NBA threes right now. And, like, the guy's dropping 50-point triple-doubles in Taiwan. Like, are we kidding here? Like, we got to play this guy we got to do something else because this one ain't working. And what he was able to do, like I said, what he was doing didn't surprise me. Probably didn't surprise you. What he was able to get everyone else to do was what I found surprising.
I wasn't surprised.
That you got the Steelers to do that?
Yeah.
Really?
Because I think he would get – I mean, look, it's kind of like what he did with the Knicks when Carmelo was out. He brings people who aren't super talented, but they do their role really well.
Yeah.
As long as you play around him, right? Because he's not like a normal import that's just like, hey, 25 shots and I'm not gonna pass anyone the ball.
No.
Like he's gonna, you know what I mean? Like
No.
he's gonna get people open looks.
He's not like just a scorer. He's an overall game.
Yeah.
He's going to affect the game, no matter how bad of an offensive night he's having. He's going to affect it on defense. He's going to affect it on the glass, passing.
Yeah.
I mean, just his sheer presence changes the game.
That's why it affected Lou the most, because before that, like,
He had
Lou
nobody.
couldn't have anybody get him shot.
No, yeah, it was stick to Lou and let everyone else.
Like,
don't let Lou
put a body on him. Don't let him get.
Yeah, like, and they had no
good.
guys that could break you down enough to
Right.
make you want to help.
To help, exactly.
That man Jeremy had our defense in absolute shambles, man. Like, I think that year the Pilots, we were either 1 or 2 in like points allowed per game, and like the first game against him, like, we lost by 30.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, this checks out.